Hello. So, I was going to live stream this, but apparently I don't have access yet. This is not a normal video, and you probably haven't heard me speak before, and I'm going to be terrible on camera. But this is a much longer video, probably, if I ever upload it, which is going to detail the journey I go from starting a piece, although in this case, full disclosure, I have tried to play this piece before, many years ago. And so I've got the groundwork kind of down, and I did a lot of work on some of the rhythms. But this is my kind of process. I go through to learn a piece from start to finish. And I might be slightly more deliberate in my decision making just for the sake of the video. But I think that'll hopefully be either useful to some people out there, or more likely interesting for me looking back in a few years to come to see if my process changes, or how I've improved or not improved from now. So I just thought this was interesting because hopefully you can hear me okay. The piano's very quiet because my partner's upstairs asleep and I don't want to wake her up. It's quite late. But normally I won't go and watch TV, and now I am deciding to play instead. What I was going to say is the piece I'm going to play is Fantasie Impromptu by Chopin, you know, the famous... As you can hear, that's about as far as I can get, which is, like, admittedly, it's a very hard rhythm to get to grips with, and so I've already taken a few steps further forward than you might if you were coming at this piece totally from scratch, and especially if you've never done threes versus fours before. I'm going to actually start with how I deal with the rhythm before I dig into the other stuff I'm going to talk about. So the main issue with this piece, for those who don't know it, it's the one that goes... hard for me to do this on camera, terribly. I really want to polish this up, but this is the point. I'm very honest about the fact that it's terrible at the moment. So my thought process was, when I first did this, how on earth do you take a rhythm which is eighths in the right hand, as in... Hopefully you can all hear that. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And a rhythm that is in the left hand, 1, 2, 3, as in 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you're playing it faster, that's how it'll feel. Putting these two together is deceptively difficult if you're not used to it. And I actually took an incredibly convoluted route round, which I'm going to show you now with a metronome. I figured out in a kind of a mathy way how you can... what do you call it? It's when you times them together. So 3 times 4 is 12. And so I'd have 12 beats for every 4 right hand and for every 3 left hand, as in something like this. You'll understand once I get going. I'm going to put it quite fast, so 120 for now. It's actually too slow, ridiculously. So imagine you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You can probably see where I'm going with this. I'll split that into 4s, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and now I split it into 3s. So the point was I would go... how do I do it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's not even that, is it? This is why, you can already tell it's a bloody nightmare, right? So this is why I'm going to write it on here. And I'll show you in a sec. I'm going to write out all the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So that's very annoying. I'll turn it off for a second. I'll just count it out. So you're probably not going to be able to see this. See, I've got numbers at the top. There. Faint. Where is it? Over here. Quite faint. I'm going to circle, or at least put a line above the right hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And in the left hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And hopefully there, you can see what I'm driving at if you haven't already got it, which is the left hand is split up into groups of, if it ever focuses, if it doesn't, there we go. So left hand is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 3 groups of 4. The right hand is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 4 groups of 3. And the point is, you can exactly understand this rhythm if you're patient enough to break it down to this extent. So now I've got this plan in front of me and I can actually do it, which is the point. Now I'm just going to do it with 2 notes. C sharp, so we don't break the idea of the key, which we'll get into in a bit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's all coming back to me now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And at the moment it feels like a very robotic way of trying to understand this rhythm, which is meant to be essentially a cross rhythm, where it feels like 2 separate rhythms happening simultaneously. I am trying to figure out one rhythm that I can use to really plot it out while I'm learning the muscle memory. And I would say it worked really well for me. This was many years ago now, like 5 at least. Probably more, actually. Yeah, like 7 years ago I did this. And then I haven't really touched this piece since. So with that in mind, I'm going to count it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Dun 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 dun. You can get it right. At the moment that feels like nothing even remotely resembling. It's a really important step because at the moment you can hear I haven't got that rhythm sorted. It's just not there at all. So a lot of this practice diary will be me really, really patiently, hopefully, figuring out how to do this rhythm consistently. Dun 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 dee da dun 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 dun. And without changing the pulse. Now shifting, I'm going to listen just to the right hand. So it doesn't matter if the left hand's out of time. I'm listening for 4s in the right hand. So you can hear, hopefully that's right. And then listen for 6. This is much harder, listening for the left hand. I think I lost it because I focused my attention on the left, but hopefully you can hear how that works. Now I'm going to go back to the metronome to show you what my life was like for many hours while I was trying to understand this rhythm. And hopefully that sheds a light on how you can conquer very complex rhythms like this. I mean, there are harder for sure, but complex rhythms like this without it becoming something magical, something you can actually break down into something practicable. So that was always my method. And at some point, you'll have to trust me on this, it becomes muscle memory, even if it takes a really long time. And even if you occasionally have to top it up. So my muscle memory is weirdly janky. So the left hand, I think, is coming in too early or coming in too late in places. And I can hear that sometimes and I can't hear it other times. So a lot of this experience will be, like I said, me trying to fix that with metronome. So that's where we're at with the rhythm. That's the hardest thing rhythmically in the whole piece. And it happens a lot. It happens for the whole piece. So if you get it, it's fine. Now, while we're on rhythm, there's a bit later on. If you got a copy, this is bar 17. So we've just, to put it in context, we've just had this bit where you've got an accent in the right hand every beat. So That's a melody. And this is another thing, you've got to always be careful. I'm just talking to people like you, you're going to be there going, oh, yes, 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 very good. But yeah, I realise that's very unlikely. So, what I'm trying to say is, very easy when you're playing this and you're just focusing 100% on the rhythm to be like, well, it sounds like a Zelda tune there. This is now like a Zelda tune, so just like MIDI. You've got to be careful to avoid that. It's really important that, you know, you're human on the piano, you are getting the melody out there. Priority number one, in my view. Now the issue with this piece is that you get that, 4 bars, not too bad. I promise, it's alright once you get used to it. With the correct notes, of course. And then 2 bars later, you get... The issue here is very difficult to pinpoint that melody against it. It's on an incredibly weak beat. So no, see, I did it. It's because it's really, really, really tempting. Because it feels like the melody is still in the thumb, because it is, but it's mirrored in the octave above. A lot of this will be me very carefully plotting this out too, hopefully. So, talked about rhythm. That's probably the hardest bit of the rhythm, because it's that rhythm complicated by the fact that you've also got an extra emphasis on a different melody line. Before, the melody line is just washing everywhere. It's like scales and arpeggios. It's hard to discern what the tune is because it's moving quite fast. Here, it crystallizes into something much more static. Very Chopin, right? And then kind of chromatic for a little while. So then it starts to, unravel a little bit there. So I think actually talking about this as if I'm teaching is very useful for me. So I think this is a good project for me, because what I'm doing is I'm trying to order my thoughts in a way that I'd have to explain it to someone else. And that isn't something I always do, if I'm honest, when I'm at the piano. So this is so far, it's pretty surface level stuff I'm noticing about the piece, and I'm sure as we go on, there'll be more things that I notice that are more interesting. But I think that's a first observation that is very interesting to me, and that kind of, with good music, there's layers that make it seem clever, and then there's extra layers that make it seem even more clever. And this is the first layer that I'm thinking, oh, it's clever music, because the whole point is, it's not, you can't, it's intangible, it's hard to grasp what the melody is at the start. I'm going to approximate something fast here. It's just washing everywhere, right? And then crystallizing here, right? So it's clever music because like the rhythm kind of helps the feeling of intangibility to exist at the start, and then you're fighting against that. It's like you can see these beacons, ding dong, that actually you're fighting against the inherent kind of just like uncoordination, lack of coordination between the right and the left hands and the rhythms, and the fighting you've got to do to kind of tie that together. You've got this thread that is trying to pull that together, and then that starts to unravel, like we talked about. So it's again there, it's interesting music, right? Because you just think you tying this together, and that's the rhythm that you get until it unravels back to. Again, right? So this mic's annoying, is it not? Maybe that was better. I'm not sure. Maybe that's slightly less annoying. Also, can you see? Perhaps I can move it down a bit, then you get a good view of my legs too. I have some Coke, and it's got a tiny bit of alcohol in, but not much. So we are. The problem with the mic is I need to actually be able to talk into it, otherwise you won't hear me. So we are. So maybe I should have it over here, but then it's kind of the beauty of doing things. This is better. So we can actually. Very clever. Now it's just the annoying wire that's in the way, but I have a fix for that, I believe. Yeah, I've got this thing. So I believe I can. Should I put this somewhere? Not really. I just need to kind of hook it, don't I? Not too bad. Then I've got this kind of slightly annoying. You never know. Well, you would, because it's here. But like, you wouldn't know if you're just tuning in now. You just feel like, why is there a wire? So if I'm looking up here, it's because there's a mic up there. So, a little link. You can probably see high enough. I don't think it goes too high, and you want to see a bit of my face, maybe, so you can hear what I'm saying. Okay, so we've talked about rhythm quite extensively. Now, don't worry, because like I have to learn this piece. So anything I have to understand about this piece, I will talk about, especially if I don't understand it. There's lots of ornamental things later that are deceptively hard. So I might be, and there's a 7 versus 6 later, as in 7 notes in the right hand, 6 in the left hand, and how do you coordinate that? Because you can't do the method I was talking about before. You've got to have 42 beats, 42 ticks on the metronome to split up into a 6 and then a 7, then a 6 and then a 7. It's just unfeasible. So there are shortcuts for this that I will be trying to explore. My cross rhythms are not automatic. Some people have just these automatic cross rhythms where they understand how to split into a 7 and a 6 at the same time. I can do a 7 and I can do a 6, but I can't do them at the same time. So that's a project for another day. We're going to focus probably tonight before it gets too late on. Sorry, this is going to be a theme, I think. I'm trying to get the mic in the right place. So that'll do, won't it? That's fine. So the main thing here is now harmony. We have a piece in C sharp minor, and then 4 sharps. Relative minor of E major, which is relevant always, because good music will not just remain in one, it will visit both. It'll also probably go to the dominant at some point, and it'll probably go to the subdominant at some point, because that's again what music following this kind of structure often does. And if it doesn't, it doesn't, but I'm expecting it to, and I haven't thought about this yet. So we're going to just walk through and figure out some basic things about the harmony, and feel free to follow me on it and correct me if I'm wrong in your mind, or get in touch. Not that I expect you to be watching. So for the right hand, it's you can discern some things. There's a chord. There's a chord. But we are not going to be using the right hand unless we don't have enough information in the left hand. The left hand is really very telling in terms of the harmony. So we have, and I'm not going to talk about inversions because I feel like we don't need to dig into that yet. Unless it's very straight, and unless it's very hard to understand the chord without talking about inversions. So if you can see my hands, this is maybe slightly more relevant to look closely at what I'm doing with my hands, because I might be playing a chord. That's the first chord. And, for anyone who's at a certain point in music theory, it's very obviously a C sharp and an E and a G sharp, which is a C sharp minor chord, which is what we call the tonic of the key. So C sharp minor. You need to know all the scales and arpeggios, by the way, just as a given. For any people wanting to do music out there, scales and arpeggios, you need to know them all, and you need to be super comfortable, really, to be honest. That's the only way. So C sharp minor is the first chord, and we're just going to figure out where that changes. So we've got G sharp for 2 bars at the start, that's called the dominant, and you can hear it really wants to pull down to the C sharp, which is what we get. So C sharp minor. This is is just a C sharp minor, broken chord. Same notes, same 3 notes. Okay, here's where it changes. So this is the second of the chord, second of the key, sorry. D sharp diminished with a C sharp, so it's actually half diminished because you use the 7th too. And then the second chord here we get same chord, sounds slightly different, but it's just an inversion. Then we get the dominant, so 5. So we've got 1, 2, 5. You can't ask for a more standard cadence than that. 1, 2, 5, 1, 2. Still 2, 5, 1. So now bar 9 we're back to 5, as in the dominant. Bar 10, A sharp. Whenever you see an accidental, like in a clear place in the harmony where it's not just cancelled instantly, you have to take that super seriously. So what that tells us is that we've added a sharp to the key signature just momentarily, which means that we're in either E major. Does it sound major? Nope, doesn't. Doesn't sound major. It's G sharp minor, the relative minor. So we've got to figure out how we're getting there. We've added the A sharp. That is the second of G sharp minor. So you can probably guess what's going to happen, right? Second again, I believe. Yes. Then that is the tonic, but it's a cadential 6/4, so we've got the dominant in the bass. As in that note that wants to go. That's our important note here. This is the dominant, but we've got the tonic over the top, so G sharp minor over the top, but it instantly goes to the dominant. And then we go to the tonic, as in the tonic of where we are now, so modulated to G sharp minor. And then we've got to figure out what happens here. That sounds like a perfect cadence to me. So I think we were en route to going to the relative major. We were as in of the original keys, so now we're going to E major. So let's assume we're in E major from the get-go here. F sharp, guess what? Guess what that's 2, 5, 1. So although very complex on the surface, this has been 1, 2, 5, 1, 2, 1, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1. But just in different keys. There's that 2, there's 5, and there's 1. And then we're in bar 17. 2, 5, 1, 2, change. You can hear that, that's the 2 of our original key, right? As in D sharp, F sharp, and A. As in, here's our chord number 1, here's our chord number 2. We can go up the whole scale like this, if we want. I think I missed one. Yeah, so as in, there we are, where were we? We were in bar 19, second half of 19. I mean, it's basically diminished, actually, but there is a C sharp if you look closely in the right hand, and the diminished chord is actually the second, so that makes sense. And then we've got 5, 5. That's an interesting chord in 21, so this is where it gets slightly more complex. This contraction in the harmony is nice. And I'm not sure we really have, if we have a home key, this will come to me later potentially. I mean, I know that's a dominant 7 of E major, but we're definitely not in E major anymore. And we've got the C that resolves down to B. So it's kind of faking out that we're going to go to E major, as in, let me show you. We definitely don't do that, we go. So that's back to G sharp minor, right? Because we've got the A sharp back. And no, it's not actually. No, it's not. No, it's not. I mean, it really feels, to be honest, there in bar 21. That we're pulling towards D sharp minor. So 6 as in 6 sharps. So from 4 to 6. But then we just go diminished. So when you use a diminished chord, like the blue, it's just a bit of a cop-out. Because guess what? Diminished chords can go basically anywhere, as in, here's the diminished chord. You can put this note in. Oh, here's a diminished chord again. I've got to think on my feet here. It's a diminished chord there. You can also go, let me think. Let me think. My brain does not work. Oh yeah. So you can change the F sharp. B flat minor. I mean, you've really got. What else can we change? You can change the A to G sharp. And I think that's actually what we end up doing eventually. So diminished chords are a big gateway to alternate dimensions. You can go this way. You've like got 4 options to go to. You can change it into dominant 7ths of any key along that pathway. As in, you've got 4 of them. You can change this note. You can change. Oh, gotta think. That's not a note you can change, right? So the C. Oh, the C goes down. So the D sharp goes down, right? Yeah. Yeah, okay, got it. So you just pull a note down and you'll hear the dominant 7. Or the A goes down. There's 4 different dominant 7ths that can resolve into different places. Let me show you that in detail. I'm going to show you how effortless it is to get from a diminished chord. Now this note is going to go down. You can get to that key effortlessly. That key effortlessly. And that's the one that'll sound familiar because that's where we actually end up. So going to a diminished chord after that, after a bit of clarity, and then kind of hiding the clarity again, is a bit of a cop-out in a good way. We're adding a bit of instability to the harmony. So if we look, we're definitely recording this. That would be disastrous. Oh god, I'm so glad I clicked high quality, not maximum quality. Maximum quality uses so much space. Oh my god. Okay. So where was I? I got off on a bit of a tangent there, but that has helped me understand what's going on. So bar 21 looks like we're faking out to go to E major, but we go we go to D sharp minor. We get a suspension at the start of each bar that doesn't really help us understand the harmony because it resolves into the actual chord. So there's tension there, but that's what we're listening to really. Then we do it again. So we end up with nothing there to help us. We end up on diminished. There's our B dominant 7, wants to go to E. There's our D sharp minor chord, which is a chord in potentially G sharp minor if you're lucky. Oh, it's a chord in B major if you're lucky. And it's also a chord obviously in D sharp minor. So it doesn't tell us anything. That's just one chord after a dominant 7 chord that isn't really related. We're out in the blue here, but the next chord helps us understand. Dominant 7, and we've got the dominant 7 of our original major key, our E major. But then, instead of going, we go. There's the dominant 7th, as in the G sharp, that you hear at the start of the piece, that pulls us back to. So, that's the basic harmonic structure from bar 1 to bar 24, and let's recap that for my own sanity here. So we have C sharp minor. We've got C sharp minor 1, 1, 2, 5, 1. Then we've got 2, 1, 5, 1 in G sharp minor, which is the dominant. So we've modulated the dominant minor. Then we go back. Then we go to the relative major. We've got 2, 5, 1 in E major. So this is now chord 3. That's the key. The original key. So this is from now about bar 13. We've now gone to 2, 5, 1 at the end of bar 14. 2, 5, 1. This is E major still. 2, 5, 1 in E major. 2, 2, 5 of C sharp minor. So we're kind of gradually getting back. But instead of instantly going back to C sharp minor, we go off on a little mini journey of ambiguity. So in bar 21, we get the dominant 7th of E, as in B's dominant 7, which wants to pull us back to the relative major. But then we get diminished, we get the random minor chord Feels like we could be going way off track, but then we don't. We just go back to diminished. Then we do it again. Dominant 7th in B, as in B dominant 7 to E. And then we get the random minor, D sharp minor that doesn't feel like it fits. And then dominant 7th of the relative major. And then dominant 7th of our original key. So we have eventually gone back to C sharp minor in a fairly straightforward but elegant journey here. So I'm going to play the right hand along with those chords so you can hear it, just basic chords. And this is going to help me structure the piece in my own mind for when I'm practicing it. Because I want to learn this off by heart. The easiest way to learn pieces off by heart is to actually understand what it is that you're playing. That's really important. You can't just learn one note after another note after another note because it gets way too complicated. So this for me, you've heard. I've managed to, in my own mind at least, simplify this down to 2-5-1 in various places. 2-5-1 of this key. 2-5-1 of this key. And the details will kind of crystallize in my mind too, but for now that isn't important. What is important is I get an overall sense of the structure of the harmony. So then this is 2. Still 2. And then 5. You know how twisty turn of the right hand is in terms of where it goes up and down. That really doesn't help with the rhythm either. Bar 9, back to 1, 1, 1, 2 of G sharp minor, G sharp minor but with the dominant at the bottom, then the dominant, then G sharp minor itself, the tonic of our new key. Then we've got 2 of E major, 5 of E major, and 1 of E major. 5 of E major coming up. Yeah, including the right hand semitones. Very important to spot that. There. So it doesn't continue with the chromaticism there, it crystallizes again. It's just a really nice chord, easy peasy, and then still 2, then 5, 1, 2. Am I right? It feels wrong, doesn't it, when you play it as a big chord? That's why it's nice to split up, because you don't hear it all at once. 2 of our original key. 5 of our original key, so there's no dominant of C sharp minor, G sharp major, 7. And there's a lot of red herrings in the right hand that throw you off, so the C sharp is not important. It is important, don't get me wrong, but it's not important for our understanding of the harmony. That is a little embellishment of the suspension there. But it's a trifle, it doesn't actually help us understand what that chord is. Then bar 21. Dominant 7th of E major, so B7. D sharp minor. Diminished cop out, as I'm going to call it in my mind. Dominant 7. D sharp minor. Oh, no, sorry. Dominant 7th of E major. Then dominant 7th of C sharp minor. Let's continue in this way. 1. 2. B at the top, very awkward. 5. 5. You notice it's not a false relation. I wouldn't go so far as to say that it's a false relation. I guess it is actually. It's like if you're playing, so I'm going off on a tangent, but this is in bar 28 and all other places like this. You get B sharps everywhere. Apart from the end of the bar, and that's nice, obviously, but it's nice in a way that does like music theory wise make sense. If you're playing a C sharp minor scale, as in harmonic, you are going to sharpen that. So for the harmony, of course, as in harmonic minor scale, you can use it for the harmony. B sharp is going to be that. For the melodic minor, though, which is used for the melody in the right hand, walking up on the way down. B natural, so on the way up. A sharp and B sharp, which in some ways also, that's something I hadn't spotted before, but that makes the A sharp earlier on feel slightly more natural. No pun intended. Because you can almost imagine that go like a harmonic minor, melodic minor. That uses that impetus to change direction entirely. In bar 28, where we were talking about before, the B sharp in the right hand is there. But you kind of tap into the melodic minor idea, the original key, without the sharp and 7. Which really does clash a lot with the left hand there. That's 1 and then 1, sorry, getting distracted, and then 2. But this is where it changes a bit. It's harmony wise, no surprises yet. So 2, 5. No. So we've modulated to the subdominant now. So that's a lovely chord, right? We go from 2 to 1, but normally 1 would sound like this, right? Listen. Now 1 sounds like this. What's happened? And we've also got this note, which I'm ignoring for now. What's happened is we've turned the original chord that we used, this minor chord, into a major chord by just shifting the middle note. So now if you left it there, obviously that's a different effect to what we get in the piece. Now the piece uses this major chord as a dominant 7th. So we get the 7, and it's going to pull. Imagine this is now number 5. Pulls to the F sharp now, which is what we get next. Spoiler alert. So. Now we get new 1. So it used to be 4, now it's 1. 5. 1. But now we modulate back, so we get the dominant 7th. If you're not following the theory exactly, it doesn't really matter. You can hear it, hopefully, where we pull back from place to place. And again, I'm not going to get into minute detail on theory stuff. So if there's anything you don't really understand here, just be patient and use your ear and do some practice with theory, because it is also a really important part of understanding music. It really, I promise it helps. It doesn't feel like it does when you're young, but it does when you get a bit older. So I just want to play this bit again from bar 30 we've got. That's 2 of our original key, 2 of C sharp minor, but then we get 5 of our new key, F sharp minor. Then we got F sharp minor itself, the 1 of the new key. Which is why there's no D sharp, because F sharp minor only has 3 sharps. Plus the sharp and 7th in this case, which is E sharp. So if you're just playing the natural minor, which is the same as A major, there's no D sharp, there's no E sharp. But because we're in a minor, and we're in a minor that uses the harmonic and the melodic minor a lot, we're going to get D sharp occasionally, and we're also going to get E sharp and D double sharp, because it's just that weird kind of piece, which has chromaticism in it too. So that's what's going on here. D natural, not D sharp. E sharp, as in sharp and 7. There's clear as day F sharp minor chord in both hands. You can find this in every bar almost, like where the triad coincides in both hands. It's like, oh yes, there's the harmony. This is the end of bar 32. You can hear that shift there. There's our new chord. Again, it's the dominant of our original key, C sharp minor. So this is what I was talking about at the start. I had a hunch, because most pieces do this, that we'll go to the dominant, which we did in the middle, would go to the subdominant, which we've just done near the end of the first section. And we've also gone to the relative major in the middle of the piece, as in E major. So we have travelled, not just played these chords, mind, we have modulated using the new scale and the new key signature of each key. As in C sharp minor, firstly we modulate, when did we say? We modulate to G sharp minor, right? So we go, and easy as my brain. And then we go to E major, so we go. And then we go back to C sharp minor. And then we go from C sharp minor to F sharp minor. And those movements, you might think that doesn't sound anything like the piece, but it does, I promise. If you were to overlap that over the moments of importance, you would hear it. So there are modulations so far. We've gone to the obvious places you'd expect to go to in a key, which is good. No surprises. The only surprise is that weird minor chord that feels out of place, but it's because it's transitionary. I think I'm understanding that chord more. Sorry, I keep going back to 21 because it's the only bit I really don't understand, but I think I understand it more now. So you've got this chord, you come in by a semitone. You don't come in by a semitone here, but you do later. And then you come in another. Oh, it's so clever. Oh my god. Right, okay, so if you're looking in bar 23, it's just so clever. So the weird minor chord is weird because he's not really even thinking of the harmony. He is. The harmony is coinciding with what he wants to do with the pattern. So the pattern is contrary motion inwards with the outermost notes of the left hand chord. Listen to this. That's a really nice little pattern that you can. I'm going to just show you this built up. So this is the basis of it. No, where do we start? Yeah, it's here. And then that's it, right? So with the chords, you don't have to change his middle two notes. That's so clever. These middle two notes will fit into this chord, they'll fit into this chord, they'll fit into this chord, they'll fit into this chord. And that is the dominant, which really neatly goes to C sharp minor. There. So that's just really clever music. With the right hand too, just for impact. This is one of those nice rare times in music where you found a pattern that you don't even have to think. The right hand does a suspension on each bar. To be honest, the right hand is nothing inspirational here because all it's doing is copying the. But that's something that's really useful to know when you're playing this piece. This is why it's important to do this, because you'll spot these patterns, it'll help it lodge it in your mind. It's like, oh yes, I remember bar 23 is that point where the right hand is slightly behind, as in the left hand's playing a B here. And then they both catch up together here. Catches up. And it's all chromatic. So easy to remember once you realise that. Okay, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent. So let's go back to where we were. We've just had the modulation to F sharp minor, so bar 30. One of F sharp minor, 5 of F sharp minor, 1 of F sharp minor, 5 of our original key C sharp minor, 1, we're in C sharp minor now for the long haul, 5, nice easy to remember chromatic scale on the right, 1, 2, 1, nothing to talk about there. The right hand has it. So this is a pattern in the piece. This is good. Okay, I'm so glad I did this. So this is in bar 35. You've got a C sharp minor chord. And again, the harmony is a bit strange. But it makes sense if you're following the pattern, because you think, oh, is that a modulation to D minor? As in, let me explain. That's an A7 chord, as in. But no, of course, it's not. It's just contrary motion out. So, justifying it with the remaining notes in the middle of the chord that don't change. And the chromatic ambiguity that just carries it. You know, after all that chromatic scale, I forgot what happened in that chord. And then this is just 5, but just one note, so hard to define really. And then nothing to write home about here. The main thing to watch out for is is there any chord pattern? And yeah, there is. This is in bar 37. In the left hand, you got E's here, C sharp, G sharps, E, C sharp, G sharp, dum 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 dum. So all that is a C sharp minor chord. Twice, 3 times. Settling on the dominant at the bottom, going up, semitone, down to semitone, and back. Da da dee da dee da, the typical. Right, you can hear it. It's that kind of just dancing around the dominant in the bass. The right hand will add lots of context to this, but at first it doesn't really add anything. It is just fiddling about above. So you've got what? E's everywhere. So the bit in between, suspension. All of those notes there are in a C sharp minor chord. The first note is not important harmonically. It resolves instantly, so we ignore it. All those notes are in a C sharp minor chord. All those notes are in a C sharp minor chord, and the pattern continues. Ignore the first note. Right, good. And that's where we're going to stop for now. So, middle section is a whole other, almost a whole entire other piece to dissect, but very much more manageable in terms of how playable it is. So we'll definitely be having some fun talking about the harmony here, as in me. When I say we, I mean me. I'll be having fun talking about the harmony here. Up until this point, we are just going to try and... Is it worth doing a hand separately or not? I feel like I've done so much of the groundwork so long ago that I've already got the muscle memory sorted for a lot of this. The rhythm will be janky. So what I might do is experiment with what kind of tempo I want to start practicing this. I'm going to explain my metronome method too in more detail in the coming episodes. Too fast, right? Just like way too fast. Now it says 84. I think that's too fast. That's half tempo of my addition. Oh my god, so my addition was... Impossible for me. It is. I can't play that. So we're not even gonna try. We are going to... I say that, it sounds very defeatist. We are going to try. We are definitely going to try. But, you know, I have a very young son. He's like 8 weeks old. So I'm not going to try to the point of obsession right now. What we're going to do is figure out a playable tempo, which is going to feel, if you know the piece itself. If you are not someone who has tried to play this is going to feel slow. If you are someone who's tried to play this, it's probably going to feel quite fast. Da dee da da da. That feels nice to me. So, just for sake of context, we are going to play all of that whole section, and when we make a mistake, I'm going to tell you my method now. We're about as slow as I want to go on the metronome, so I'm not going to go any slower, even if I make mistakes, unless I get really desperate and I can't actually get it any more consistent without slowing down. That's the only time I'm going to slow down here. But what we are going to do is every time I make a mistake, I'm going to go hand separately through the bar, and then I'm going to go back a bar. Now I've said it, I've got to do it. And I'm going to do that before I go to bed. It is currently... it's 10 past 12. Oh my god, it's late. So, the ridiculous thing is, it's meant to be cut common time, as in 2 in a bar. 2-2. We're going to count this in 4, so these are crotches. So, first 2 bars, if you got your copy, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm already thinking in triplets here. Dee dum da dee da dee dum dum. Dee da dum dee da dum. That's our 4 intro bars. Is that not a mistake? I can't fool myself. I've got to do it. I'm on camera. this is going pretty well. I'm surprised actually of how much of this I remember. So, next time I do this practice diary thing, I'm going to do it with a piece I've never touched before, just to give you the whole experience. But I just thought, I can't do that right now because of other stuff. So where did I lose the left hand there? Where did I lose it? Oh, it was second half of 19. So this is the point. This is why it's important to recognise the modulation here, because otherwise it's so easy to miss that C sharp goes through D sharp. So let me do left hand. Might seem stupidly easy to do it like this, but all I'm doing is I'm really ingraining a bit of muscle memory here. It needs to be done. You'll find that you hit a brick wall at some point, so I'm just making the brick wall slightly softer. I am doing multiple small brick walls all the time. I'm trying to break through bad habits in the muscle memory as they appear as early as possible. So back to bar 18, back a bar, remember, and then we continue. Lost on the metronome, aren't I? So this is the main point I was talking about with the rhythm before. The emphasis on the second note in the right hand really throws off my counting. There's too much to think about here for my tiny brain. So I'm going to just do the right hand here, emphasising the second note. I need to think about response to the beat. I'm not trying to jump the beat here. I was, and I need to stop doing that. I'm trying to place it after the beat. Let's try that again. It's about 21. Feels better. Feels better. And we lose our emphasis entirely. Let the harmony speak for itself, I suppose. Let's talk about that, so I can't speak and play at the same time successfully. Between bar 25 and 26 and any other bars like that, from here to back, I think what I need to be very cognizant of is where my third finger is. So I'm going to put a 3 at the end of bar 25. Oh yeah, see, it's in the music, so if I'd been patient, I would have actually spotted that. The 3, so even though, let me explain. Even though you root chords missing the third, obviously, you're going to use 5, 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to go, ideally, in a perfect world, because look how uncomfortable that is at speed. Let me show you from above. Oh my goodness. So, from above, I think this is really important. So from here, right, this is obviously the best. From here, because this is impossible. If it was just these 3 notes, that would be far better. But it's not. The C sharp is annoying, and this is going to be like... And to do that, you can see it's already slightly awkward for my third and my fourth, and we've got this kind of bridging the gap situation, this spot hand position here. The problem is, the second half of that bar is actually going to be possible with a 4 and much more comfortable for it. Pardon the pun again. But we need to get back to this chord, and in order to go from here to here, horrible. So we've got to do a halfway house. We've got to go 5, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 5, 3, 4, 5, 4, and continue like that. So that's going to make my life a touch harder when it comes to being consistent with the fingering here. But this is good. This is why it's good to talk about it, and it's good to go through carefully at first before you jump in, because these are the things that are going to save your life later when it's fast. Right. give you that. It's just frustrating. You know, you think you've got it easy, and you know, of course, you're just being complacent, because really what you've got to do is think about the most efficient fingering for that chromatic scale, as in where do you start and when do you finish. So you want to start on 5 and end on 1. I mean, it's so obvious when you think about it. No F. That's an I do. Three, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. Oh, 1 on there. That's not nice. Okay. Where was I? I made a mistake in, I think, the right hand. So. Let's go back a bar and put this together. This is now bar 32. Feels nicer though, once you get used to it. Being complacent now with the chromatic fingering. This is so bizarre. I'm going to go back again because I feel like I didn't really crack bar 35, easy as it is. There's 2 things I've got to do here. One, which is snap out of my weird 3 versus 4 thinking. Da 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 da. That is always buzzing in my mind, as in da dee da da dum dee da dum dum da da dum dee da 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 da. You know, it's just very involved. I need to let go of that entirely in bar 35 because the left hand disappears. So. Just easy peasy 4s, right? 3, 4. Some right hand stuff to think about here for sure. No, nice. That's it. As in as if the A. It could definitely happen in Chopin. I will say this about fingering too, so this is a good point I would say about fingering. There are often, please get good editions of music, please, I beg you. And when you have got, it's annoying, isn't it? When you have got good editions of music, don't give up on the fingering instantly, because sometimes the fingering makes no sense. And especially in things like Bach, which God forbid I will ever do on video, because that'll be a tedious process for everyone. So with things like Bach, it's really worth giving it a chance, the fingering, because it's very counterintuitive, but when you actually put it together, it is often very, very, very carefully thought out and very clever, and something that a lot of thought has gone into that you can't always replicate in your own house. So you may have a temptation here to be like, oh, you know, I know how to do chromatic scale. That's definitely my first thought in bar 33. You know, 1, 3, 3, 3, 30. And yeah, it's perfectly serviceable, but you might find that your finger's worn out at this point. 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3 might feel way harder than normal, and you're under pressure. You're often playing this in front of people. That's when your fingers will lock up. Your chromatic scales, you know, you just never know. What, using just 2 fingers? Never a great idea. You've got a whole hand to use, so strengthen your fingers. Use all of your fingers. 5 here, and obviously it's going to be worse at first. But I do feel, long run, you're opening yourself up to way, way more potentially carefully planned fingering and just better effects overall if you follow that fingering, using more fingers. So, you know, this piece will have moments like that where internally I'm thinking, oh God, why not just like a chromatic scale? Why can't I not just go? But I'm going to really resist, and again, the camera's on, so I have to. I'm saying it. I've drawn attention to it. I'm going to do it. Hopefully. 1, 3, No, fuck that up. So I've messed that up. I'm really sorry. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. It stops being chromatic on the F sharp. I must remember that. So 4, 3, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3. 3, 3, 3. 3 at the end as well. Right. One more time. We are going to go back about that, don't worry about it. I just want to crack this first. Oh no, I thought, oh my god, sorry. I thought there was another bit that wasn't chromatic, but oh thank god it is, I just can't read. We haven't talked about pedal yet. That is going to be a conversation for another time. Okay. Right, back a bar. Let's do that for real. And I'll hopefully turn page with my right hand. Left hand. So bad, I have to do it again. Get to 3, 3, 3. Repeating patterns easy peasy. 3, 3. So I think we're at bottom of the barrel on the measurement. I mean, well, top, but really it's bottom. And that was 44. Crotchet equals 44. Minim equals 22. That is about a quarter of our final speed. So I'm going to make a mark of that, 44. This is going to be an insight into my way of doing things at the moment. I have to change method all the time because I get bored easily. And I need to stay very motivated, so my method changes as I start to get bored of it. And at the moment my method is 44 is the speed. That's one number. Here it is in the corner. My second number, which you won't see, but you'll have to trust me, I'm writing a 1. And you'll probably guess what that is. That's the amount of bars I go back if I make a mistake. I'm not gonna tick it yet, and it looks like an 8. It's definitely not an 8, it's a 4. 84 would be too fast. 44 is what we've got. And I'm not going to tick it. I tick it when I've got through the whole piece like that. So don't leave anything behind. The whole point of this is that I am covering the whole piece consistently before I try and speed any of it up. So I can probably play it much faster, but much worse. At the start now than I can at the end. But I don't want to do that. I'm not even going to attempt it. I don't want to lock in any bad muscle memory. I'm simply going to say 44 is the tempo, and I'm going to get all the way from start to finish of the piece at 44, tick that off before I focus on any particular sections, because I know for certain those things are going to go slower than that, and something is going to go much faster. In particular, does it speed up at the end? No, it actually probably slows down a touch. That's nice. No accelerando? Do we accelerando from section 1 into section 2? Why is that an a tempo? Oh, retenuto, okay. Never mind. Retenuto into presto. Okay. I mean, we've got slightly contradictory instructions here, because sorry, I'm dotting around, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. In bar 83, we've got a presto after the middle section, which is in a major key. And at the start we've got allegro agitato, and I am just assuming that is two ways of saying the same thing rather than faster the second time. But I could be wrong. This is another thing I want to talk about. I don't listen to any music. Not any music. I don't listen to this piece at all until I have got it basically off by heart at a fairly slow tempo. So when I'm about in the middle of my process with it. Once I'm at about halfway, then I'll start to listen to interpretations. But I find if I do it too early, then what I do is I force ideas that don't gel very well with my hands. So, and I get depressed about it because I'm thinking, oh, these guys are so good. Don't just cut that out. I just think, I have to do this anyway. I'm going to do it in good spirits, and I'm going to just get it done without any comparisons. But I found I've just done Unsuspiro. I'm in the middle of that actually, but I just thought it was too late to start videoing that one. But with Unsuspiro, I just didn't listen to it until the day I was going to play in front of people, and on that day, I listened to like 10 different versions. Is it the best method? Probably not. I probably should have listened to it before then. But what that really helped me with this is understanding that I have my own interpretation, and I can't just think that way is better. That way is better. They're also different for one. I can't model myself on just one. It was too late. So I just had to be at peace with the fact that I played it my own way, that I developed using my own technique and my own method. And that was where I sat with it. And I think basically what I'm saying is I think the process of listening to other people's recordings is always kind of an interesting experience of, oh, what are they bringing out the music? Do I agree with their direction or not? Treating it more like a separate exercise from me playing it. I was just listening to someone else's playing and thinking fairly dispassionately, and not about my ego, just like, oh, that's quite nice, that's not nice. I was at least trying not to think that's better and that's worse than how I'm playing, because that's a very destructive way of thinking. You've got to work with what you've got, and if what you've got is much slower than what some of the professionals do, then so be it. That is what I've got. My way of playing is going to be slower, but I hope I will still find something musical, and I will find something of value to portray in my playing. Okay, so what time is it? Past an hour now. I don't really want to end it here. What I'm going to do is quickly sight read through the middle section. I'm going to sight read through it and then go to bed. And if I'm up at a normal hour tomorrow, it's a bank holiday, I might do this during the day at the grand piano, which will be nice for everyone. When I say sight read, this is not, by the way, my sight reading is pretty bad. This is more like very rusty playing or something I already basically know. I could not play it off by heart, as in I have worked through this before at some point in my life, and I know the melody very well. But I don't know very well. I don't know well enough to play it perfectly. Interesting crotchets lining up. Interesting dotted rhythms too, you've got to be careful of that. The right in 4 and the left hand is in 6. Your dotted rhythms in your right will not line up with your left hand, remember. That trill, do we care about many notes on that? Probably not, it's probably just like a mordant. This is the problem of the middle section. How do we space these ornaments? Because that's one way to do it, the lazy way, which is... Oops, I'm still in C-sharp minor in my mind. Major. Ignoring the fact that the right hand is in a different time signature. The right hand's in 4s, the left hand is in 6s. So, if the right hand is in 4s, we have to respect that. It is not going to line up with the left hand. It's not going to be... Because nothing else is going to line up. You'll hear the quavers don't line up if we play the early bit. So the ornament is also not going to line up if we're splitting it carefully. But I can't do that, so we've got to think carefully about that in the future. be something approximating that, but better. That's pretty bad, to be honest. Do we take that in the trills as well? I'm just going to make an executive decision to just play the trills as normal. But that might change later. I need to listen to other people. Not a hard trill like that with the sharpens underneath. Interesting walking bass in the left hand. Bring that out. See, it's even more explicitly here. I think I need to think of it like this. If it's a dotted rhythm, where do I put it? There. So that's where I need to start it. It's that, right? But now I'm just hammering it because I'm scared. That's the one. This is the nightmare as well. So 7 in the right, 6 in the left. I'm not going to dig into this too much now. I'm going to go 3. No, 4. 3. Because the dotted rhythm will disguise the end. And I'm going to fix this later. So it's going to be a group of 4 and a group of 3. To be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how most people do it. I say that hopefully. That's too sharp on the dotted rhythm. Triplet. At the same time. That's so nice. Easy peasy. Oh my god. F. D flat major. Bringing that over the thumb nasty. Oh, but it makes sense because what's going on here is the mirror of the right hand. Here. Is there in the left hand. I'm going to exaggerate it so you hear it. So it's actually very important to bring that out. That's obviously way too much. Are we just going to continue to the end of the... I mean, it makes sense, right? Can I justify slowing down? Probably not. We probably could justify putting that. Do we put that on the A flat? See, it feels weird, doesn't it? But that feels weird too because I can't do it. Something to think about. So awkward. That's where the metronome will come in handy. And 3 pages left, or most of which I have played before. So the piece is not. It's not a huge piece, to be honest. It's really not. The harmonic structure is not difficult. We don't really go anywhere. Remember, the top note is the important one. See, I've lost the 3s in the left hand, haven't I? So listen to the 3s in the left hand. Because I've forgotten what notes I'm meant to do. Oh. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2. No. 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. If I remember right. Simple stuff. But now I think this next bit's awkward, right? Requires jumps in the right. Not easy ones. The 4, really? 3, 2, 4, 3. Okay. The high speed though, that's really hard. I'm gonna go slow on this. But at least, you know, we lose the 3s and 2s. I mean, even the 3s and 4s, I mean, even Chopin must have been like, oh, this is just pointless doing everything. Move up. I need to learn not to swear because I have a son now. Oh, that's bad. That's quite simple. well at the end, which is Chopin never went softer than triple P. Right, that's that. So, for me, this is the first exploration of the piece in probably 8 years. I have sight read it in between. I've come across it. I've attempted occasionally to sit down and just play through, but I've never sat down and actually dissected it like I did 8 years ago. And back then I got about halfway through the process. Like I figured out how to do the rhythm, and then I stopped because it was too tedious for me. So now I'm much better equipped to actually work on this piece. I'm going to go through it step by step, continuing on like this in each episode of my practice diary, as I'm probably going to call it. Okay, I may be slightly better rested. I'll be hopefully at the piano you're all used to over here, which is covered in stuff. And the sun might be shining in because it's getting bright. Alright, I'm probably going to look back at this video and think, oh god, why did I upload it? But I'm also hopefully never going to watch it. So, just, yep, that's it.